everybody. Welcome back. This is the 505 Sports Venture Program. I'm Kurt Roth, and we come to you every week through the generosity of ProView Network. I want to thank Steve Davis, the president, up the stairs for giving us this opportunity. And behind the glass, Adrian from the City of Angels, our erstwhile producer, who goes through craziness every week to actually make this look like we know what we're doing. Anyway, UM fans, Lobo fans, New Mexico fans, people who care about the state, this is an important time in UNM athletics. We've just seen what can happen, the whole Bronco situation, which we're going to talk about with our special guest in a minute or two. Conference realignment left Lobos out in the cold. Almost, if it wasn't for UNLV and Nevada and Air Force, almost left the Lobos without a conference and without a settlement. So now, what can we do about that? Well, the first step is on-the-field talent, and that's up to us. NIL, name, image, and likeness, giving opportunities to student athletes is the easiest way to A, keep and retain our top student athletes, and B, recruit other athletes who will come and keep us on the map on the field. So it's up to us, and that means you. We're not looking for $1 million contributions, a nickel, a dime, a dollar. You can do whatever you can. It all adds up, but you can buy stock in your Lobos. So it's 505sports.org. Check it out. We make it really easy for you to contribute and be part of our team. 505sports.org. Let's keep UNM competitive. All right, we're going to be back with our special guest, familiar to all you UNM Lobo sports junkies, and we're going to talk about all sorts of cool stuff that's happening. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Kurt Roth. You know, time goes fast here, so I want to introduce our guest, familiar to many of you who follow UNM Athletics on social media. Runs the Pit Press, which is a kind of very vibrant little organization. You guys are on all the time. Also an East Coaster by birth. Some contact Ryan Tamari. I want to say hi, Ryan. Thanks for coming on.
Kurt, thank you. I'm a wannabe New Jerseyite. I was born in New Mexico, but my parents are New Jerseyites. So thank you for having me on the show.
Well, it's always good. It's always good. A couple of guys just talking about what's happening, and a lot is happening in and around the University of New Mexico athletics. Full swing basketball season, men and women. We'll get to that in a minute. But the big story in the last week has been the Bronco Mendenhall story. Not a good thing. And now we've seen in the wake of that is, I think UNM has the most Division I players in the portal. Or right up there. So what do you think about all this? Let's just talk about Bronco leaving first.
I'm going to start here. I've become more of my time at UNM, an objective reporter, but there was a point in time I'm probably very critical, and everybody probably knows that. I just like playing devil's advocate, but I always like talking to you. I was a diehard UNM football fan. I loved the New York Football Giants, but at one point 20 years ago, I was in high school getting ready to become a student at UNM, and I lived and died with the Rocky years, especially as I always mention 03, 04, 05. And you go to Salt Lake City and you kick Urban Meyer and Alex Smith's behind. I love that. Dontrell Moore comes on our show, and I always get his stats wrong. I think, and I love what you do, and I support you, and I think that it's like and it pains me because it feels like it's one of the most New Mexico football things, UNM football things ever. I thought Bronco was going to be here 3-5 years, build a foundation, compete for a Mountain West Conference title. I think it's the landscape, and I sound like everybody else in a broken record. It's just the landscape of what college athletics is now. I think if North Texas or Southern Miss, any other mid-major might have called, Bronco Mendenhall would still be here. And I say that wholeheartedly. I think that it was the Utah State job. He's not far from there. Family is important. I love my mom. I'd probably do the same thing. I just feel, and I understand the frustration from a lot of Lobo fans, and I wouldn't lie if I said I saw it. It's just the way of the nature, or it's just the nature of the beast right now with college athletics. I'm still frustrated as well, but when you host a talk show, content is king.
So good subject matter.
Yeah, it's a good subject matter. Yeah.
Well, it's I agree too. In part, I hear the stuff about the family through our work at 505 SVF. I got to know Bronco as well as I think you can. I think Bronco is one of the more private individuals. I don't think public persona is his deal, other than his position, which he shares with his team and his coaches, and it's a unique family. But I do know personally that Bronco is one of the more connected guys to his 3 kids, and they're in Utah. His 92 or 93-year-old mother is still alive and kicking, and she's in Utah. I know his wife, Holly, was very, very, very concerned about being away from the boys, despite their fact they're adults. That's just the way it is. And Bronco, above anything, was a family man. Now, did it totally screw UNM? Oh, big time.
I agree with you there.
Here we go. We have all these kids in a room with the coach saying goodbye, which was a repeat of a year ago. And what message does that send to these guys? Like about loyalty, about commitment. Not a good one. And then the portal, all these guys we were building. And I honestly believe had the Lobos, had Bronco return, and our quarterback return in 505 was in an excellent position to keep him. We would have contended for a Mountain West title next year.
You were one of the people that came on our show over the summer and had said, Vegas had UNM football at a 1.5 games, over under. I thought that was a little low. But you came on our show and said, I think 6-7 wins. And I thought, I'm being honest with you, I said, if you're saying it and you're around and you help put this thing together, I kind of bought into that. And I know how much of a private, not trying to steal your thunder, I know how much of a private guy Bronco is. I spoke to some people that I have connections with in Utah, and they had said, BYU fans were kind of upset with the way he addressed the media. I get upset as a member of the media, but at the same time, he's doing a job. His priority really isn't media obligations.
So
that's not here nor there. I think I really believe had he'd stay, they're not being picked by guys who don't know expletive around us that picked the media polls, because they were 11th out of 12 teams. Nevada was picked last, and Jeff Choate did a good job at Nevada. I think next year, I totally agree with you. I think they would have been contenders, and you didn't even mention somebody's name that I absolutely love because he's a local kid, is Luke Wysong.
Oh, right.
He was phenomenal.
Right. Right. Yeah, we would have had, oh, well, woulda, shoulda, coulda. We
Right.
don't want to go there. But, again, as far as building the team, getting more than 15,000 people in the stands for a game against a top 25 team, which was a big game, Washington State, we could, hey, we're for now, we're in the same conference as Boise. They're seeded third in this football deal. Why not us? That could be us if the public makes a commitment. Of course, the state needs to make a commitment. We can't have an athletic department budget $25 million less than Utah State. It just can't be. So there's a lot to happen. We can talk a little bit about when we're going to take a break, but when we come back, we'll talk about the coaching search, what we know and don't know about it, and then we'll move on to other sports. So everybody, hang out. We're going to sell you some stuff right now. I'll be back with Ryan right after this short break.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
Big Sky.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. We're here just, talking Lobo sports, like a couple of guys sitting down drinking club sodas in a bar. Ryan Tenari from Pitt Press. All right, so we talked about the departure of Bronco Mendenhall. Real blow to UNM. A lot of kids in the portal. Now, one thing that we both know, going into the portal doesn't mean you're gone. Now, if Bronco was a head coach, and you went into the portal, you were gone. That was your choice. That was made clear. But now, UNM's going to hire a new coach. I expect it to be within today, tomorrow, Monday, at the latest. Those kids can come back. You can re-recruit them. So what are you hearing? What do you feel? What do you think UNM needs in addition to what are you hearing?
I'm going to go. You had Rocky here, the stability. You're talking to a guy with a history degrees too, so I won't shut up about that. You had Rocky, who in hindsight 2020, there were fans that wanted him out. Probably wasn't a good decision by Paul Krebs. I don't know if that name's allowed on the show. But anyway, you had Loxley at Davie, and then you went to Danny. And I thought Danny, with his enthusiasm, was a great fit. Fortunately, you have to win football games. And then he went to Bronco, and now he's gone after a year. My mentality, and this is my opinion, maybe it's a guy that has been here. I've heard rumors, and I've heard how great Zach Arnett was on defense, that he would line up when they played here under Rocky, and he could point out the play. And I wish I had that football IQ. There's been Holloman Wiggins name thrown around. I think it was a wide receiver here. He's at Texas A&M. No offense, I don't know how you're going to lure him away from Texas A&M. I bet, of all people, you could do it. There's the Urban Meyer factor with Fern, which I guess is Fern Lovo. I'm sorry, I still call him Fernando Lovo. Dan Mullins, we're sitting here as Dan Mullins was hired at UNLV. I get the attraction of Las Vegas, Nevada. I love going there. I'm sure you probably do too. I would personally think, I don't think there's anything wrong with anybody outside the program. I think a real beneficial, somebody who's enthusiastic. I think Zach Arnett is a great name. I really do. I would like to see what he's done. He had that ultimate task of taking over an SEC program. So I loved Mike Leach. It was tragic, and they fired him after a year, which again I don't think is the raw, the best of deals.
Right.
But I personally, I think it would be cool if it's an alumni, but that's not necessarily. I'm not Fern Lovo. I'm not in those rooms. So
well, you got to know. I mean, I love bringing back Lobos. I think that's great when you can do it. But it's not me. It's not you.
Right.
And we have this guy, Fernando Lovo. This I have to laugh. I've gotten to know him really well in his 9 days here. He comes in, never been the boss, which is an important factor, but 36 years old, new to New Mexico, comes in, he loses a football coach. On Friday night, New Mexico State beats the UNM women. On Saturday night, New Mexico State beats the UNM men. On Sunday in Las Cruces, the UNM women go down again. So he's been here 8 days right after Thanksgiving. He needs to hire a football coach, and his sold-out crowd and big weekend went up in smoke. So I sympathize with him. But it's his hire. And it's interesting because he was coming into a job where the two most important positions were pretty solid, football coach and basketball coach. Athletic directors like to have their guy or gal in those jobs if there was a woman's position. That being said, now he's got to put his stamp on this deal. Under fire, under pressure, new to the school, going from Texas, which is a hedge fund with a football team, to New Mexico, which literally the head coaching job pays what the offensive coordinators make in the SEC, in the Big 12. And that's, we saw that with our offensive coordinator going to Utah at, I think a 300% raise and taking the quarterback with him. So now here's our new guy in that position. Now, I do know that they've been very swift. They've been face-to-face with some real good candidates. And for those who are watching this not live, we're filming this on Friday the 13th.
It's a good omen.
Perfect for us.
Yeah.
Don't take it easy this weekend.
I am. I'm not going anywhere tonight.
Well, on the computer, too. With the over and under.
Yeah.
I think he's going to make a mark. I think he's going to come up with a real good hire. And I'm really enthusiastic and optimistic that it's going to work out. So we'll see.
I think for Lobo fans, not listening to me on my show, but I think when you say something, and people who know who you are, I think there's, it's a stamp. It's a big foot in the ground. I'm 37 and a half. I'm making that joke. I'm 37 and a half. I'm still a young guy. I'm on the south side of 40 as I joke. Glad Ed Nunez isn't, not that Ed Nunez, my Ed Nunez, ProView Networks here. I can't imagine that, maybe I'm wrong in misreading this, but that amount of pressure at 36. But I also think I know I would walk in and be like, listen here, you guys, I'm going to listen to you, but you're also going to listen to me. I don't know. You have to have that kind of mentality, I think, strong-willed.
We've seen that. I've seen that up close and personal. He's used the people around him as resources because he doesn't appear egotistical like my way or highway because he doesn't know the highway.
Yeah.
He's here. He's relying on his staff. He's got really good people in the room. And he's super reasoned. It's funny, I'm not going to mention names, but a bunch of people in Texas who used to be here are calling him, telling him who to call in New Mexico about support, financial, 3 of the 4 of them are dead, and one of them is in jail. So it's been funny, but he has relied on the people here, but he's his own guy. There's no doubt about it. He's confident. I've watched him up close, and I think it's going to work out really well. And maybe by the time we come back after this short break, we've hired a football coach. I'd like to break it on the show. Don't count on it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
We've been trained, conditioned, and rewarded for doing more. But people weren't designed for all that doing. Our bodies need to settle into nothing from time to time. Into nothing at all. In a world obsessed with doing more, we invite you to undo.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We're here with the 505 Sports Venture Program. Special guest Ryan tonight from the Pit Press. All right, we don't have a football coach yet. We checked the wire. I can't announce anything yet because there's no hire. We've talked all about Lobo football, Lobo basketball. We go from going to Vegas and beating UCLA, who hasn't lost. Beating UCLA handily. Game got within 6 or 7, bang, we hit a 3. It was easy. To playing New Mexico State, net ranking of 300 and whatever, 4 from the bottom, and they shoot 5,000% in threes. Like, how does that happen? What you were there? What was that?
Well, the UCLA game, I was probably the most impressive win I had seen out of UNM in some time. New Mexico State was kind of, it's a rivalry game, though. Anything can happen. If I were a gambling man, which I am.
If I
was, which I am. I saw 20.5, and I really thought, there's no way they come up here, New Mexico State. And I know Jason, I'm not here to, sugarcoat it or be up anybody's, what. I think Jason Hooten coaches hard, and
great coach.
He's a great coach. And I think he did a good job of coaching. And, if you're not going to have a good year, what's the one thing that can make it a somewhat successful year? That's beating your rival. And you don't play them down there this year, which is, I will be honest, I think it's sacrilegious to not have the home and home.
I agree, 100%.
That's just me personally.
100% right.
I just don't know. It's almost, being a Lobo fan is ups and downs, and that's what it's been especially the last 10 days. So
yeah, well, it's amazing. First, I want to go back to if I was a gambler, which I am no longer, and I've been retired quite some time. But if those 20.5-point games are insane, because if you're watching 90% of the time, it's the last guys on the bench who are deciding whether you win the rent money or not. And they're taking hook shots and airball and foul shots and fouling with 1 second on the clock. So those 20-point games never make sense to invest in, as I used to say. But New Mexico State won, I do agree. In 2 years, we're going to play UTEP twice every year, and we're going to play New Mexico State once. Wrong. That's just wrong. Those games back and forth are great. And last year we saw a 43-point game and a 1-point game.
I don't mean to interrupt you there. The lineage and history of UTEP basketball, I'm glad that rivalry's back. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, that was when I was here in the 70s. UTEP was not, and it was Haskins, not far removed from winning the national championship. and they were great. We had great battles, and we had the game with the boycott and the football players beating UTEP to keep them out of the tournament. All that stuff. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense that we don't play the Aggies twice. I don't care whether it's not good for our net. They'll be good again. Hooten's good, and they beat us. I'd love to go back down and get a chance to beat them. I mean, come on, Lobo fans. Anyway,
that's the point with that. Keeping those 2 games.
I want to go back. Okay, they beat us here. We owe you. Let's go down and beat them by 20 and cover. All right. Well, and then we're kind of, there seems to be some issues. Does this lawsuit, this True Washington Shane deal, is that effective? Is that affecting the team? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. I do know that they're just not consistent.
I would say that. I mean, I thought I was at UCLA, I was at St. John's, and then I was at San Jose State. I stayed home. I watched. I love college basketball. I love college football. It is my love. So I stayed home. Went over to a buddy's house. I had to watch the SEC. That's king. I think you are right. I think there is some inconsistency there because you beat UCLA. I didn't think St. John's was such a winnable game. I thought they played really well. Agree to disagree. I thought they got it within 4. The Mecca, home of my New York Knickerbockers. I didn't foresee them losing an MSU. Again, rivalry game. I thought, hey, maybe an MSU comes in here. But what I saw, and I did watch the game, from the end of the first half through the second half, that is not the team I saw. I know different pieces that I saw in UCLA. I got San Jose State. At least you started your conference year 1-0. I mean, you don't want to be consistently inconsistent. That's not the best thing to be. I think Pitino's a good enough coach. I like him. I like how he handles the media. It's a pro. That's me being biased. I think he does a good job. You work with him. But you and I both know, and you've been around on this planet, you've been on this planet a lot longer than I have, and that's not a knock. It doesn't matter what you do in November and December. Talk to me in late February. Talk to me in March.
No doubt about it. All right, we got a couple minutes left. We're headed toward the end of the NFL season. It's up for grabs. We see, obviously, Detroit, who knows? Kansas City wins every game. Who knows? I mean, they win the games. What do you think? Who do you like the rest of the way? And what do the Giants do? No, we don't. We can't talk about that.
I care, but I don't. The older I've gotten, I'm like, you talked to me 17 years ago. Yeah, I was hanging on by every play on that run to defeat in 2007 to beat the undefeated Patriots. The NFL's king. I watch it. I may not win, lose money. It depends. I like watching Detroit play. I really do. I can't figure out the Ravens. They're consistently inconsistent. You lose to the Raiders, and then you blow out every good team. I am on board with America. I think a Detroit-Buffalo Super Bowl would be great. I don't know how Buffalo would handle losing another Super Bowl. I was in wee diapers, but I love the history of things. It's a documentary I'm still in from, the Four Falls of Buffalo. I love Thurman Thomas, Jim Kelly, Bruce Smith, Don Beebe. I could go on and on and on. I think maybe we are getting ready for the asteroid to hit if Detroit or Buffalo hoist the Lombardi. I think there's been a lot of bad football played, and that's a hot take, but it does make for parity, and it does make for good things. I would love to see Detroit get on a run and do it. And I'm a little biased. I have a friend from the Daily Lobo who's a photographer, works for the Detroit Free Press. He follows University of Michigan, Michigan State, the Red Wings, whatever they're doing. He works for the sports desk at the Detroit newspaper, the Detroit Free Press. I jokingly say he was a game away from the Super Bowl last year. He follows them for his career and his opportunity to be on the field in a Super Bowl in New Orleans in February. I would love that for him. So maybe that's why I'm rooting for Detroit a little bit. I like Josh Allen, Mountain West kid. So that's where I'm at.
Well,
with that.
There you go. We got Buffalo and Detroit in the Super Bowl. I'm rooting for the Raiders this weekend to win, get their third win. Giants get the number 1 pick in the draft. They take the quarterback from Colorado, fire the whole staff, and bring Dion in to run the whole show. If it's not Belichick, let's bring in Dion. It'll be a total disaster. Anyway, 505sports.org. Jump on. Help us out. It's really important if you root for the Lobos, if you believe in New Mexico. That's where it's at, 505sports.org. Ryan, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week. We'll talk about the new Lobo football coach and everything else that happened. We'll see you.